Hello, Reds from around the world. It is Sunday evening. It's hard to really remember when any day begins or when it ends, but you are here, of course, for All For United with the Wall of Reds. Thank you so much. We already have a good few people in the comments. Jacob, thanks for joining us as ridiculously early as you always do. When the front three costs 15 million, you'd expect to get a win at Stamford Bridge. A front three costs 15 million? Dan James. Yeah, so the other two were free. Yeah, good point, actually. Jamie, good to see you as well. Not a bad result. Said a draw all week, but the 5-0 alls against the top sides this season is frustrating. Yes, and we will be touching on that, Jamie. So thanks for bringing that up. Stuart we had Stu in on the show, but sorry, lads, new headphones needed. We couldn't hear a word he was saying, and usually we'd be really happy about that. Only joking, Stuart. We love you and we need you. Where you guys are watching, thank you so much. Please come over to YouTube. Blah blah blah. YouTube /All For United. Come in, join us in the group chat. Get your thoughts in, get your views off. We're going to be going to everyone one by one to find out their thoughts on today's game against Chelsea, the 0-0 draw, and then we'll be discussing in detail the hot topic, which is the fact that we have scored one goal against the top six so far this season. Well, the traditional top six. I don't know why we include Arsenal. They can fuck off. But it hasn't been great sailing so far. So we're going to be discussing, and considering that's kind of what kept Ollie in the job, you might say, last season, was the fact that the record against top six was fantastic. So it's kind of been a 360 or a 180 on that. So we'll be discussing that in detail. So please get your thoughts in. Fred, thanks so much. Always great to have you. The most frustrating thing was the acceptance of a point and not going for the win. Absolutely. We'll be touching on all these points. But like I said, get into the chat. Get us to 25 likes. If we get to 25 likes, I'll be asking a question. The first 5 people answer that question correctly will be put into a draw for Football Town apparel. I'm getting so fucking good at that. James Ridge of the Hollies, coming to you first. What are your thoughts on today? Are you happy with the result, or are you a bit disappointed in how we played, that we didn't really go for it?
I'm not devastated with the result, but I'm also not, over the moon. It's another 0-0 on the record. It's not a good record to have, is it at all? But I suppose the positives are that we're not losing these games really. We've lost 2 of the however many games we've played against the Big Six this season. So that's not a bad record. But when you dive into it, obviously 5 draws is not acceptable. I thought the game was interesting to watch. I think it was probably a bit boring to a neutral fan, but to watch how the two teams set up was very, very interesting. I think it was definitely a battle of the midfields, and different midfields were on top at different times of the game, and we saw that with how the game went. We had a few spells of superiority, and so did they. And I think but neither team had the creativity in that midfield to really make him pay. I don't think Bruno had his best game. I think this was a chance where he wasn't really marked out the game. He had a chance to really stamp his authority on it, and we saw his final ball wasn't quite good enough on multiple occasions. But I think, tactically, and given the personnel that we actually had available and who was missing, I think a point's really not the end of the world, especially away from home.
Yeah, and as well, Chelsea are coming back from where they were, under the wonderful Frank Lampard. So it's, it is a good draw against, the new manager bounce. Coming to you now, Andrew. Andrew Brickwall, what are your thoughts on today's 0-0 draw? Are you happy with it and how the overall play?
So a bit disappointed we didn't get all 3 points today. I mean, it was a bit like a chess game, really. I think both sides went out not to win it outright, but not to lose the game. They just didn't want to drop those points. First off, we started the slower as Chelsea had more of the possession of the ball. So we were just trying to get through that first phase of play, which we did. And then we grew into the game. And then the Hudson-Odoi handball that was clearly a handball, and the referee said no. And then VAR said, oh, go and look at it. And then still said no. And then it was like the fact that after the game, Luke Shaw saying that Maguire, the referee told Maguire, oh, I can't give it because it's going to create a lot of controversy, which if he did say that, then that referee should be demoted. He shouldn't be refereeing the Premier League for a while. I mean, it was clearly obvious. And I mean, like in the Sky Sports studio, soon I said, oh, Hudson-Odoi, you handballed it because you thought Greenwood was going to run into him. I just feel like that's a load of crap. What Souness said, I just think you clearly handballed it and he got away with it. But I mean, second half it was pretty much the same, a bit like the first half. Chelsea came on to us. De Gea made that great save, and Shaw with that tackle, and as well as McTominay. And so it was a game of half decent chances, but we just lacked the cutting edge in the final third. I thought when Martial came on, I thought he could be the game changer for us, but we hardly saw him at all. And that's where I just think we missed Cavani today, because getting those balls into the box, like James was using his pace to get down the wing and try and get some balls in. Cavani would have tried to get on the end of him, whereas Martial, I didn't see much. I know he was only on for about 15 minutes, but I thought he could have done some more. But disappointing, we dropped the points, and it could have been a chance to just pull away from the rest of the top four. So I say we move on and go to Palace on Wednesday.
Yeah. To be fair, a lot of these refs should be demoted or something. The inconsistency is absolutely insane. I completely agree with Hama, as per usual. Great to have you in the comments. The whole thing with that handball is infuriating, and also I know that Souness is doing this to get views on him and get views on Sky being ridiculous. Like, anyone who doesn't say that was a penalty, a Stonewall penalty, is just trying to bait us into getting annoyed, and it's working. Okay, I am so pissed off because like we always get, you know, for a soft penalty here or there, but when we actually legitimately get one, and this is what happens, it's so frustrating. But Ben, coming to you right now, how do you feel after the game? Are you pissed off? Are you feeling good because we got a point away from home against a tough enough team at the moment, or anything in between? How are you? What are your thoughts?
I'm a little bit annoyed, mate, to be fair with it. It just, you know, sometimes I don't know whether it's a fear factor that we've got against this top six lot, that we can't go out. You know, ever since we got smashed by Spurs at home, there seems to be like a little bit of a fear factor. We can't go out and play our football. We can't go out and, you know, just it's like I said on Twitter, though, for people that follow me, it's like I don't think either side showed that extra little bit of hunger to go out and win the game. I think they're both, especially the last 15 minutes of the match, that they're both content of like, yeah, it's going to be a 0-0. We'll both take a point here. But again, the thing on the referees, mate, how long have you got? Seriously, it's another debate we have on the women's show as well, because the standard of referees are diabolical on that as well. But it's the Premier League, for crying out loud. It's supposedly the best league in the world. And yet we've got referees that are just unfit for the game. And then you've got ex-referees like Keith Hackett calling out current referees, saying they're just not good enough. They should be, demoted. As I think Andrew said, should be demoted to maybe the championship, just to regain a little bit of basic knowledge. But then again, you could argue, though, they keep changing the rules. From the start of the season, how many rule changes have there been? And no wonder why the referees ain't got a Scooby-Doo half the time. What's going on? There's just too many rule changes, too many, ifs, buts and maybes. Is there a fear factor now because of what happened to Mike Dean? Is there a fear factor for referees thinking to themselves like, oh, if I make the wrong call here, I could get, I don't know, death threats or whatever or violent abuse or whatever it may be sent to me? I don't know. I just think he's chicking his way out of that decision. It's laughable at times. It really is. And it's just the whole referee VAR thing. It's just it's not working for me, mate. VAR bores the pants off me, slows the game right down too much. But at least, one thing I could say, at least they went to the screens this time. At the start of the season, there was all shit scared of going to the screens to have a look. But now at least they're going to the screens to have a little bit of a look. But I just don't know, mate. And then if with what he said to Harry Maguire is true, mate, it's just disgraceful. No wonder why Ollie was spitting his feathers out, at the end of the match. But as a whole, we can't blame referees' decisions at the end of the day. We had a couple of opportunities that, Fred flashed one just past the post, from range, but for once, Fred's actually got a shot on kind of near the goal and not into row Z, but we had a couple of opportunities, but not really any great opportunities, though. Not really that's really properly tested their keeper.
Absolutely. You're dead right. And a couple of comments coming in. That's the plan, Hammer, right afterwards. Jamie with handball should be handball. Absolutely. Renee with last I knew, handball was a handball in the box penalty. There's no doubt that it should have been a penalty altogether. How can you change the rules mid-season? What happened to all the integrity of the game talk from last season? That's only when it suits them. And like the thing about banning the referee, it literally makes no difference to us now. Do you know, this is what frustrates me. Do you know, like, okay, that's great for our rivals. We'll get a proper referee now, but like it's already messed us around, so I don't actually care what happened to him. Oh, Stuart, do we really think he did say that, lads? Well, see, the reason I do, Stuart, and thanks for chiming in finally, been very quiet, is that there's literally nothing Luke Shaw can gain. Like, they're all very well trained in how to deal with media. So I'd imagine that if there was anything like that, they would, like, the team would come down and say, you can't say it. Like, unless, like, it did happen, it's verified by Harry Maguire can come out and say, no, he said that to me, because Luke Shaw overheard us saying to Harry Maguire. There'll be about a couple of players that can say this happened. That's why I think that it did happen. Or else Luke Shaw's an absolute idiot. So we'll find out in the due days, but I have a feeling that it did.
I can't see Luke Shaw lying, by the way.
Yeah,
I can't see him lying about it. You can see by his reaction to the game, he's genuinely looked gutted and pissed off. I can't see him lying about that, mate. It's
a very specific lie as well. It's very like Harry Maguire heard. He said it to Harry Maguire. If you're lying, you wouldn't say it to Harry. He wouldn't bring Harry Maguire in. Anyway, that's why I think he's telling the truth. Just bring back the days of Uriah Rennie, Dermot Ellery. What was it? Who was who were the
David Ellery? When it was David Ellery.
Howard Webb. Just back when they were threatening, when you wouldn't like say anything to them because you'd think you got a header off them. Great days. Oh, the docs in the comments. Sorry, we'll get to you in a second. Greeting lads, 2 defensive midfielders create a disconnect for the front runners. They need to come back and get the ball. Passing today was dreadful. We've been saying that a lot, Barry, and great comment. Thanks so much for being here and watching us all the way in South Africa. And Stuart, last one. I'm not saying Shaw's lying. It seems strange for ref to say that. It does seem strange, but if he's feeling the pressure, he might just let something slip. That's what I'm thinking. That he didn't plan out. He just kind of got stressed and said something he should have. That's what I think. Because people say stupid things. And guys, like I said earlier on, wherever you're watching, come over to YouTube. Give a like on this video. Once we get to 25 likes, I will be asking a question. The first 5 people to answer that question correctly will be put into a draw for football town apparel outfit. Now, 1 second, and Jeff is coming all the way from the future here. Good morning from 8 hours from now. Jeff, don't spoil it for us. Don't tell us what happens, okay?
Yeah, I could have used sleep with the game earlier. So for the result, I'm not pissed, but I'm not happy either. Part of it, and Benny brought up the 6-1 game with Spurs, and I just check out the lineup, and I think there's fear factor on the part of Ole, because ever since that game we played Pogba and Matic, and then we played Maguire and Bailly. I mean, it doesn't help that we went down 10 men, but clearly we don't have the personnel to dominate the ball and just run with them. Last season we got away with the top 6 because we were just counter-attacking. We were just sitting back, and then once we had the ball, we just ran with it. But now we're actually trying to play with the high press, trying to dominate the ball and trying to create. But as mentioned in the comments on Twitter earlier, we don't have that kind of personnel. Like, there's a big disconnect with Buckfred in the middle. They can't get the ball to the final third. They're good at running into the final third, in fairness to them, this game, with Scott with a chance, and then Fred with this best shot like ever, I guess, with his United career. But yeah, could have used the 3 points. Honestly, could have used the sleep, but I'm not terribly upset about it. And then let's try to move on and get those 3 points in the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal Palace during the week, we need to get him for that. We'll keep going on to someone we haven't seen in a couple of weeks, and it's great to have you, maybe even a couple of months, and it's great to be back all the way in Seattle, the wettest city in the United States. That's a fun fact I learned from Sleepless in Seattle, where apparently it rains 9 months out of the year. You're welcome, everyone. So, Chuki, we're coming to you now. What are your thoughts on today? Are you disappointed or are you just happy with a point? And you're muted! And you're still muted! And you're still muted! There we go.
Thank you.
That was a journey.
Yeah, exactly. It rains elsewhere, almost, most places for 9 months a year, by the way.
Just give me credit for even knowing that Seattle exists, all right?
Okay, Joe. It's okay. It's okay, Joe.
Thank you.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this handball thing. I think this is a situation where two things can be true. It's true, the ref, based on how they've been calling the game this season, probably is a stone cold penalty. But I don't enjoy that. In my mind, just being, you could call me a purist or whatever you would like to. If you're not Luis Suarez in the ball versus Ghana, you're really not. If you're not making an intentional choice to handle the ball, you shouldn't be fine. I didn't enjoy them calling by his hand thing a penalty. Even though it's like, to me, it was ridiculous. And we should I think the story is they should sort the rules out, and Ollie and his team shouldn't get caught underneath this this VAR battle, because it looks like Klopp, Mo Lampard when he still had a job, put a lot of pressure on the union to look at how they were giving United freebies. So he should just he should buckle down, and I think he is. He gave a lot of fire at the end of this game. There, he wasn't having it, and that's what I like to see. Now, that being said, there was a lot of game after that handball situation, and if people want to be mad, they should be mad at the players. They didn't do what they had to do in the half moments and the moments they had. A lot of half moments could have turned to full-blown moments if they just did what they needed to, if they executed better. Fernandez, the issue is that you have McFred. Someone talked to you, McFred, like the name McFred, right? Easy to call. With McFred at the base, we're good. We have people to run. The issue is Fernandez had a poor game. Okay? So you take it as it is. If Fernandez has a good game, he lays the passes, he's passing like De Bruyne or something like that. Someone gets the ball, then we get a point, we get a goal in this game, but we didn't. So it happens. Anyone that saw the tie would have said this is probably going to be a 0-0 game.
Yeah.
Right. So let's So let's not be overly disappointed about the result.
Genuinely, I would have put my house on the being 0-0 draw. It was like setting stars. Once it was like Ollie's away record versus Tuchel has yet to lose. I was like, well, no one's winning this game. It doesn't suit either of them. So
still me.
We'll keep going. Your final points on today. And guys, if you want to sound off in the comments by giving out about the ref, keep going. Keep going. We want to hear as much insults as possible. And also, wherever you're watching, come over to Off United on YouTube. Please like this video. We're 9 away from 25. And once we hit 25, I'll be asking a question. And the first 5 people to answer it correctly will be put into a draw for Football Town apparel. And this guy won't be allowed. Hey, Kartik, thanks for fixing your Wi-Fi. It's great to see you. Well done today. Reese, coming to you now. Final points on today. What are your thoughts?
It's pretty much game, set, and match. For the fact that it was a draw anyway. Several talking points from that game. We've already mentioned the handball, so I'm not going to dwell on that. What I'm also going to say as well is that Lindelof was extremely lucky in the first half as well. I think it was at the mid 30-minute mark. Giroud, luckily, wasn't a yard ahead of him further, or otherwise he would have scored from that Callum Hudson-Odoi cross. I'm also quite surprised that the way we were defensively as well for those set pieces at the end from Reece James. We've got to do better there. Fortunately, they didn't score, but we weren't switched on. And that's still another recurrent issue, is we're not switched on for set pieces. We're going to end up scoring. We've conceded about 10 goals from set pieces, I think. So it says I'm
Oh, he's about to sneeze. He's about to sneeze.
Gesundheit.
He'll sneeze eventually. But he was making a good point, that to be said.
Yes.
Rumor has it Fred scored his right-footed howitzer. The Queen would have announced the bank holiday. Damn! Curse you, Fred. Sending good Fred news. Wi-Fi, you bastard. Yeah, no problem. Is he back?
Hey, Joe. I saw a comment. Can I just say something right quick as Reese?
Okay, yeah. Go for it.
Hey, I just want to just to be clear, I wasn't blaming Bruno for our draw today.
Okay, that was unfortunate. My Wi-Fi is a bastard.
Welcome back, Reese. I just mentioned Bruno because I didn't want to mention everyone else. I mean, most of the team had a substandard game today. Bruno is not the reason why we lost.
Cool. Chugi hates Bruno. Find him on Twitter and let him know. Reese, take it away.
My Wi-Fi is a bastard, right? So what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so I was a little bit disappointed in terms of where we were defensively, but we didn't lose, which is a good thing. We had several chances. Rashford should have scored that free kick. I have to say it's a very good save by Mendy as well, but I think Rashford should take more free kicks more often. I think he's certainly got the ability for it. I thought McTominay was a surprise addition today in midfield. I wasn't sure if it was the best decision, but we didn't concede. I do have one criticism for Bruno Fernandes. I want him to stop crossing the ball into the box because he can't do it. Like, Fernandes cannot cross a ball into the box. I'd rather him play short, direct passes rather than a long ball because he's clearly not good enough. That's something that I want him to stop now.
Reese has made some enemies. He's
my favourite player, so I'm gonna still lay down the law. He cannot cross a ball into the box, but direct short plays, he's phenomenal.
I'm gonna open it up to the floor. Does anyone want to disagree with Reese on his?
I'm about to disagree with that. Yeah.
Jeff, we're going to you. Take him home. Go on.
It's not Bruno's fault that no one can get it to his crosses. I mean, when he does cross the ball, it's usually someone in advance. He crosses it early, and with Cavani there, he's usually the one running to that cross. That's why he's so good. I think what Reese is saying is Bruno should stop crossing because there's no one to run to it, right? But he's good enough, man. I mean, come on. He's good enough. He can cross the ball where he wants to. He can get the ball where he wants to. But there's no one there to make those runs into the box, like near the post, or just have that same level of thinking that Bruno has. Donny could be useful in those situations. He's not a good hitter, but at least he knows where to run to. I guess I agree that he should stop because no one else is gonna get there. He should keep it simple because all the other players around him currently play simple, and with the exception of maybe Donny, Pogba, Cavani, Mata, maybe they're all at this football creativity genius level. So he's good enough. I mean, come on, man, he's good enough. But he can stop crossing just because no one's there. So
I'm not saying he's not good enough. He's phenomenal. I just think if you look at the way he crossed the ball, like he had the free kick from right outside the touchline, it went straight to the centre back. Like it doesn't seem to work for him. But if you give him like a direct pass going through, he's so effective. That's why on the ground, Bruno Fernandes is second to none. But if you cross into the box, half the time it's going to an opposition player, and frankly, that's chances we can't afford to miss. And it's always talked upon, and I don't hate Bruno or dislike him or nothing. He's probably out of all the players on our team right now, he is my favourite player because of how important he is. But that's probably the only criticism I could realistically make of him. Don't make those sort of plays. Be more direct in terms of like maybe across the ball, short, because that's when you see the danger coming. It says it all by his 50 plus goal contributions.
Yeah, I think Reese is spot on. When you first said, my jaw dropped just because of how controversial it sounded. Then I remember it was Reese speaking. Reese is he does his homework. Look, if you look at the stats, Fernandes, all his short completions are in the 90 percentile. And the apex 90 percentile. So I'm talking about 96, 97, 98, 99. But once you get to crosses in the penalty area, he's 56.
Yeah.
I mean, the bar just goes like this. Once you get there. So it's definitely a weakness. And Rich just kind of pulled that thread. So he's basically saying, hey, just stick to your strengths. I don't think he says, you know, I'm sure you're not saying he should never do it. He's just saying that,
No,
hey,
absolutely not.
do more of the other thing that you do better.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep
more or less on the lines of that.
Yeah,
very much,
we'll keep this conversation flowing. Reese hates Bruno. Everyone hashtag that and send it out.
I don't hate anyone. I don't hate anyone except Scousers.
Except Scousers. That's fair.
And Leeds fans.
In that order. Okay, to keep the conversation flowing, and James has been lovely and polite, waiting in his little box beside me, saying, I just want to talk about the top 6, Joe. When can we talk about the top 6? And we're talking about now, James. Okay, your time has come. So as is the title of this video, we have been struggling a lot against the top 6 this season, which, like I was saying earlier on, has been kind of like the high point of Ollie's tenure. Is big victories over City last season, beating them 3 times. We obviously did beat Liverpool this season, but it was in the cup. But the rest of the traditional top 6, we did tend to put them to the sword last season, bar Arsenal, who have a weird thing against, but they're a mid-table club anyway. They don't really count. So why is this happening all of a sudden? Is it because of the 6-1 loss to Spurs? Is it just a different style of tactic that Ollie's gone in with this season? Because we are still doing better. Do you know, I'd rather be where we are now, having the results we had against them, rather than beating them and then be further down the league, if that makes sense. So it is sort of working. Is it a transition? But we'll come to you first, James. And please, everyone, get your thoughts in the comments on why this is happening. And don't forget to like this video. I think we're like 7 or 8 away from the designated goal of 25 likes. So James, come to you first. Give us your 10 cents.
I think to start with, it's worth saying that a few of those results don't tell the full story. I think you look at the 0-0 against Arsenal, we had chance after chance to make that at least 1-0 and come away with something. You look at Liverpool at Anfield, we had 2 really, really good chances at the end that we, on another day, would have put away and would have come away with points. So it's obviously an issue, but there are promising signs. It's not like it's a complete lost cause. I think we're struggling with the fact that we're now having to protect our back 4 a lot more. I think even when we play on the counter-attack, we can't fully go for it in case we lose the ball and get countered on, because you look at our defensive record last season, it spoke for itself. It was one of the best in the league. It wasn't something we had to worry about. But, you know, this season, it's a lot more poor. They're a lot more prone to errors. And I think the fullbacks, the improvement in attacking fullbacks has meant they're more confident going forward, which means we're more likely to get caught out because Lindelof and Maguire don't have the pace to cover them. So I think we are playing in fear of the fact that if we try a little bit too hard going forward, we will get caught out at the back, which is fair enough. You know, we saw it against Tottenham in a sense, where we conceded 6 because we went behind and we had to then go for the win, 10 men or not. It still left holes. So, you know, it's not the end of the world, because there have been chances in these games to win them, but it's something we need to improve on. And I think, you know, that, like I said, that starts from the back. You know, you sign a holding midfielder and a centre back, and the whole team's more confident going forward. There's less, you know, reluctancy to play a risky ball or to try something you wouldn't usually, because if we lose the ball, we'll get it back easier. We'll be able to sustain attacks. Whereas right now, the big problem is that we can't do that, and I think that's why we're not seeing any goals. We can't afford to attack at full speed, if that makes sense.
But James, would you say, okay, your Wi-Fi is breaking up a little bit, but no, I think you're back now. But would you say we are improving still on last season? Is it like a transition period where hopefully next season we will be better against the top 6, as well as being able to beat the smaller teams as well?
It's definitely different to last season in the fact that our problems are coming against the big 6 rather than the lesser teams. We now have no problem really breaking down a smaller team. Obviously, there's been a few exceptions, but we're much better at it now. So I think that was the big thing that Ole wanted to fix this year. Obviously, bringing in Bruno Fernandes has helped that. But I think, you know, maybe we've gone too far the other way. It's not necessarily a problem if we're a side in transition, like we seem to say every single year. But yeah, it'll be something that's addressed in summer, I imagine. I think right now the focus is to, like you say, we get those points on the board against lesser teams, and we're seeing the positives of that. We're 2nd in the league, whereas last year we were 5th or 6th for most of it. So, you know, I don't think it's a major problem. It will be something that's addressed and can be addressed somewhat easily, you know. So I think there's positives to it, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Coming to you now, Andrew. Why are we struggling so much? What has happened over the last season? Are you following James's line of thinking, or have you got your own view on it?
So our record against the top six this season it's woeful. I mean, the only goal we have scored against the top six was a penalty. We haven't even scored an open goal against any of the top six. So it's just a bit concerning. I mean, after the 6-1 defeat against Spurs, Ollie had to shore up that defence, so we didn't start conceding more goals. But it's just the other end that's where I think we just lack that cutting edge at times. I mean, like today, I don't know where we just lack the belief to go and win the game. I mean, if we created a good, decent chance, we probably could have nicked that game 1-0 and just got further ahead away from the rest of the top four. It's just we have a good attack. I mean, from the end of last season, we was firing the goals. It's just this season just seems to be some sort of disconnect. I mean, for these players to be great, you want to, you want to do well in these big games, and it just seems we're just lacking that cutting edge.
Yeah.
I mean, I see an improvement. It's just I think from next season we're going to have to start turning these draws into wins against the top six. I mean, compared to like last season, we probably would have taken a point, considering where United were. But I mean, now we're like this season we're disappointed with the draw. We want to be seeing more wins now and trying to challenge for the title, which seems those hopes have now faded away now with City just running away with it. But let's say we'll just try and do better for next season.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about City. They don't matter. They're a corporation. They're not a football club. And Jamie, you say this in every video, and I'm convinced you're just trying to bait me. I am not going to answer this anymore. We do not need Declan Rice, okay? We will never need Declan Rice. Is that okay? Is everyone happy with that? Okay, thank you, Jamie. Cool. Ben, coming to you. What is your take on this? There's also a point that needs to be made that I can't remember who posted on Twitter earlier on, that the amount of 0-0 draws is like on an exponential rise in the Premier League this season. So we have to kind of look at thank you, Mark. Sorry, it's something to point out. Thank you, Mark. You're now my new favorite contributor. But like so we have to maybe look at there's a possibility of the fact that the fans are missing, that love you too, buddy. That the fans are missing, and which is obviously an aspect for every club. So we have to also put that into the mix. But sorry, we got a bit distracted there. Ben, what is your thoughts on why we are struggling this season?
I also think it's you mentioned there about 0-0 across the whole league. I think it's this playing two matches a week business, week in, week out, for a lot of the big six, especially with European football as well as the other cup competitions. I just think this being a very unique and different season where you're playing 2 games every single week without hardly much of a break in between either matches, I think it's taken its toll on some of the players. People must be getting bored of me banging on about it, but I think some of the players have hit a bit of a wall. They're giving all they can on the pitch, but they can't give that extra 5% that would usually see us go on to win games. Or go on to get any type of result if we're behind. I just think we lack that pace. When we came back off after that first lockdown, we all came back, Project Restart and all that, and we came out flying out the blocks. We were hammering teams for pace and power. But ever since this season started, because it wasn't long between seasons either, was there? Between the end of last season and the start of this season. And I think you're seeing that a bit in the Premier League now. I think you're seeing that the pace has dropped off dramatically, I think, in the league for most teams. People might say about the Stockport Blues, man, they're starting to purr a little bit now. But listen, they were struggling earlier on in the season. I just think it's a fitness thing. I really do. If you're a pro athlete and you're playing 2 matches a week and you're trying to give it your all for all the matches you can, of course tiredness is going to come creeping in. And I think it's also sometimes it's a lack of rotation as well. is does Ollie trust certain members of the squad over certain other members of the squad? It's like Rashford's playing a lot of football. Fernandes is playing a lot of football. Harry Maguire's playing a lot of football. And it's just, I think it's started to take its toll, and not on just United, but the league itself. I think that's also something that possibly might explain why we're having a lot, or why there's a lot of nil-nils in the Premier League as well as us. Do you know what I mean? But I just think also, yes, the fans have something to do with it as well, because that's your 12th man. When you're telling me at Stamford Bridge today, United fans, wouldn't be going attack, or getting behind the lads, you know what I mean, or calling the referee a wanker, you know what I mean? We're missing all that. I just think it's just like a little bit of an excuse, I think. Well, no, maybe not an excuse, but excuse is probably the wrong word. But maybe the players are just not feeling it within themselves, because usually when you need that extra 5% and you're struggling, but you've got the away fans that are just egging you on, you know what I mean? That gives you that little bit of extra lift, but it's a strange season, mate. That's all I could put it down to.
I want to say as well, no one at all for United condones calling a referee a wanker, bar today when it would have definitely been justified. Also, Jamie McKinley, who is a contributor, totally agree with Ben, said similar in last week's show. He did indeed. And also check out, Jamie actually interviewed me for his podcast on the Just Get a Real Job. So make sure everyone here is going to check it out. So make sure to give it a listen. It'll be released on Tuesday. You're welcome, Jamie. Little plug for you, baby. Jeff, we're going to keep going now. Going on to you. What are your thoughts on why this is madness? What's happening? We're kind of hearing a few different aspects, but what are your thoughts?
Well, almost everyone, all teams have been playing twice, even almost thrice a week since the beginning of last season when the pandemic hit, and then they started to lift up the lockdowns. So one factor is that, fatigue, and then they took off the 5 subs a game and the water breaks. I think that helped a lot during the project restart. But trying to normalize the football in this season with the 3 subs, and then there's no water breaks, with the pace of the football that we're playing, of course you're gonna hit the wall and just tire out. The crowd would have helped a lot. I mean, when I was playing a different sport back then, but when you need that extra push that you think on yourself, because during those moments of fatigue, of tiredness, like sometimes you tell yourself, I can't do it any longer, but then you see your fans just cheering you on, then you just try your darnest to try to get more. But then again, the players now need that intrinsic motivation just to play. Actually, I mean, if you think about it, they shouldn't be like working at all with all the dangers and the risks outside there. But the fact that they're being, in a way, forced to play because clubs are losing money, and if clubs are losing money, people are going to lose more jobs. So I think that extra source of motivation on the pitch is a factor. But then again, the other rules that help the players manage that fatigue, with the pace of the matches weekly, with the 5 subs and those water breaks, that might have helped. But it is what it is, and here we are. And it doesn't help our cause that we have injuries, so we can't rotate much. And Ole is loyal to a fault with some of the players, and that's what I've been saying. He can be ruthless, but he can be also too loyal with the starting 11. I mean, he gotta rotate. I mean, that game against Sociedad, even though we struggled in the first part, but he could have started with a much more rotated side, and then if things were going south, he could have easily brought in Bruno or Rashford if needed. But I don't think a penalty in the first half would be too bad, considering we were up 4-0 on away goals. So that's another thing to consider. I mean, Ole has to show the board. Well, he's showing the board that what we have now is not enough. So they got to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. David, thank you so much for keeping us up to date as well. We are 3 away from answering the question. The first 5 people to answer the question correctly will be given put into a draw to win some Football Town apparel. Damn, that was the worst one I've done in a while. Is loyalty or fear or distrust in the rest of the squad? That's a cryptic question. Okay, we've got everyone boo. Okay, James, look up from your phone for 1 second, please. Daddy's speaking. I'm going to put this comment up, all right? And I want everyone to boo at the same time. Take yourself off mute, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Boo!
Wow.
Don't stop Port Bruce have anything better to do with their lives.
Well, yes. There we go, Mark. Everyone in the comments as well, please. Please, everyone in the comments as well, boo. We'll keep going. Reese. Oh, sorry, Chuki. I was about to skip by you. What are your thoughts on everything that's happening this season that's leading us to... the treble actually happened, but you keep dreaming that oil money, okay? It doesn't count when a corporation buys it. Everyone here, boo, boo, and this was so loud. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. I will wait until Ben tunes in and is like, why is everyone booing? Plastic Arrow Project. Absolutely, Jacob. Absolutely. Keep the non-city love coming in. Chuki, coming to you now. What are your thoughts on what has led us to have this season so far where we are unable to beat the top 6 or even really score against them?
I think it's both interesting and also not interesting at the same time. Last season, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Are you good?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Dude.
Okay, so last season, I think teams. I don't think they had really sized Ollie up. Ollie's a discerning manager. You know, he's not the greatest tactical. Everyone knows what Ollie is. He has a coaching staff that probably handles most of the tactics. He's a good game manager when it comes to like key games generally. Last season he had really good results against the top 6. I think the best answer, other than Joe's answer, which I thoroughly enjoyed, the putting fatigue as a variable there, is they sorted United out, the top 6. They said, okay, we're going to be more prepared. We're going to bring out Voltron, the same thing that's sitting behind Jeff right now, to our games, and we're not going to fall for the same thing we fell for last season. Every time we have a 0-0 draw, the other team has a 0 draw as well. So it's not just us. We're talking about good teams with good managers and good coaches and good tactics, and they bring that they brought it this season. And that's why we're seeing some of the moments that would have turned into, semifinals. Everyone understands that that's a monkey in our back. In general, you don't get third last season and running second this season if you're not ran by a good leader, which Ollie's a good leader in my estimation. I mean, people can have their free of opinions. I look at the table to tell me what's going on. And the table is telling me we're second, in a very tough season. Okay, so basically, when we're going 0 draw, the other team is going 0. Why? Because they understand the threat United can be on the counterattack, and that's exactly why we're not seeing the same success we're seeing last season. But what's going on this season? We still have the most goals. We're still second this season. So most of the good things are trending where they need to trend. In against the top 6, whether we win, Fergie. I always can try to compare it to Fergie's time when he was dominating the league. Fergie didn't have the greatest record in every season against the top 6. What he did was severely beat teams around us. I was more disappointed against Everton and Liverpool. Liverpool, when Pogba almost hit that goal, hit that goal attempt and it didn't go in. And against Everton, where we're clearly winning the game when we lost it at the end. That to me is a little bit more annoying.
Yeah.
To me.
Absolutely. David, can you just keep us updated with how many likes we are off, or anyone, Stuart, if just tell us how many likes we're off? 25. I think we should be just about there. But Reese, we'll come to you. Why are we suffering so bad against the top six? It was Ollie's bread and butter last season.
I think the only thing I could potentially say compared to what everyone else has said so far is perhaps we've been fought out. Compared to last season, we switched styles. Whenever we played the top six, we would always play three at the back, and we would always try to break them on the counter. And for the majority of the time, it worked. The City games, Chelsea, even like the games against Liverpool, like we had that draw as well where we should have beat them. Like we held them very strongly. That could be the case. There is a chance that like maybe we've just been thought about differently, and because of that, we're just not picking up the results. But against the lesser teams, we could be more dominant and we can win them. So that's another thing. It could also be just the mentality. Like they're just not picking up like who they're actually playing against when realistically they should. Now, that's not me saying that they're not, but it's just a thought that it could be. I don't know. There are so many contributing factors, but what I'm not going to say is like we're not playing bad. It's just we're not being clinical enough. And if we can turn some chances into goals, we'll pick up more points. Because I think we've had 5 0-0 draws. 5 0-0 draws against the top six, I think, and then we've only scored 1 goal, which was a penalty. That's not particularly good enough, but we're picking up the points in the games we should be winning.
I think this comment's meant for you. I'm not actually sure if that's for me or you. It has to be me or you.
I'm hoping that's for you because I'm not Welsh.
I know, and I'm not Welsh either. But I'm guessing it's either me or you. So.
Probably whoever's Welsh, like, good to meet you. I like the Welsh. I think they're good people, but I'm Scottish. It could be a factor. Who knows? What I will say is we're not the worst team in the top six, but we do need to be more clinical. If we can take some chances, get some goals, our position will be better. So I'm hoping it starts next week against Man City. We'll find out. Yeah. We'll find out next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very interesting game next week when we do get around to it. Is it Saturday or Sunday? What days? Does anyone know off the top of their head?
Sunday.
I presume it must be Sunday. And well, luckily, I think Cavani will be back because I think we're seeing more and more that we need him.
He might be fit for Palace. The way things are going.
Well, if he's maybe fit for Palace, it'd be great if he got 20 minutes or whatever on. But I think we need him because he kind of he's not had a perfect record with injuries since he's arrived, because obviously he didn't arrive fit, took him a while to get the power, but when he is like at his best, he is still as good as he was like 6 or 7 years ago. So we need him at as close to his best as we can do against City. So hopefully we can put the game to bed early against Palace. Fingers crossed that never fucking happens though. And then we can give him 15-20 minutes and then hopefully get his legs out and stuff like that. I don't know who he's talking to. I've been through Wales on my way to lovely Ireland. No, thank you, Mark. But then who are you talking to?
You said me.
He said you. Oh, sorry, Reece.
Yeah,
but look, he's saying nice things. He said he agrees with you. He said he agrees with you.
To be called Welsh, I mean, okay, that's new, but I don't mind that. At least someone agreed with me.
Yeah, exactly. At least he didn't call you English anyway.
That is very true.
Or responding to
Woodrow. Very insulted.
Yeah. Lol, who goes through Wales to get to Ireland? Well, apparently Mark does. Okay, leave him alone. And finally, we are on 25 likes now. Okay, I've only figured out this question about 5 minutes ago, and even probably less. Please, okay, for the love of God, I know James won't because he's a good boy, but no one else shout out the fecking answer. Okay, let them try figure out for themselves. Okay. So, my question is, which former Arsenal manager also played for Manchester United and played for Chelsea? Which former Arsenal manager played for both Arsenal? Oh, sorry, I think he played for Arsenal as well, but played for Chelsea and played for Man United. And it's like not... Well, it could be 50 years ago. It's more recent than Herbert Chapman. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's easy.
Well, I guess if it's a clue at all, Reese should get it. But Jack, hey Jarvis, by the way, good to see you. Didn't see you there. We need more muscles and power up front. All our forwards except Cavani is too skinny. Absolutely. And Mark is explaining how he gets there. Train then boat. Absolutely. That's that's how you get to Ireland from Wales. I'll say it again. What former Arsenal manager played for both Man United and played for Chelsea? And I won't tell anyone if people have got it right, but I can tell you that Jeff got it wrong. Who's Stuart Houston? I don't think I know him.
I just Googled him.
Oh, you just Googled. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
But we'll go around. We're going to go around one more time with just our thoughts on basically what we want to see for the next game. Okay, we got Palace coming up on Wednesday night, so we'll just go around very quickly. James, to yourself, what are you hoping to see Wednesday night compared to what we've seen today so far? And then we'll go around here. I won't even focus in.
I think it's probably better to compare it to what we saw against Newcastle. Really, I'm not fussed about scoring 4, 5, 6. I just want a game where we are completely on top and we perform really well. We're creating chances, and we're like we were after that Project Restart. Just one of those sort of performances, because going to Selhurst Park is not easy, even when Crystal Palace are in bad form. So I think if we can put in a dominant performance there, come away with a comfortable win, maybe even get a clean sheet if we're lucky, then that's all you can really ask for.
Absolutely. And for anyone who's wondering, I'm going to give Fred the credit. George Graham is the answer. The Scot, who played for United I think he played under Ferguson, but he won stuff at Aberdeen, I think, with Ferguson. But Andrew, we'll go to you now. What are you hoping for the next game?
So I just want us to go in with a bit more, belief than we did today's game. Just want us to go out there, have a good performance. It depends on, who he starts up there front, whether Martial will come back into the side because his form lately has just been, not that good. Whether just bring him in this game, just get his confidence up, get a goal. And even for like Greenwood as well, I think with his form at the moment, he's becoming a good all-round player, but I think he just needs to start scoring, and then he'll just be flying away and just banging in those goals left, right, and centre. But I just want to see a good performance and just some intent on Wednesday, and hopefully just try and get the 3 points and just cement that position in the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone's background, it sounds like porn. Ben, Ben, I'm going to come to you now. What are you hoping for against Crystal Palace?
The 3 points, mate. The 3 points is all that I need, mate. I just want the 3 points. And a couple of goals, mate. That's all I want. A couple of goals and 3 points, and I'll be a happy Benny again. I promise.
Fair. You promise. Jeff, for yourself?
What a boring game we're in. We score early. I don't mind if we don't get a clean hit, as long as we get more goals than they do. So, yeah.
That is like tactics 101. Just score more goals than the opposition.
That's right.
Perfect. Chuki, for yourself?
For myself, it's also the 3 points, but I would like to see someone else step up and contribute assists and goals other than Bruno and Rashford. It just feels like if that axis is broken, that we might not come from anywhere else. So we need to prove to ourselves that everyone is engaged, like what the top teams do. Everyone puts in a piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And Reese, final point?
Anything except a repeat performance from the first game of the season.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, I won't say anything. I would say a win, but just not that again. That was awful. That was absolutely awful. But guys, that's been our show for tonight. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Please do what you can. We have this question. Sorry, before we go away, I'll do this question. James, going to come to you. Did we make a mistake in not replacing Lukaku?
I mean, last season we didn't, did we? Martial was on top form. I think it was fair enough to trust him to bring that form through to this season. So I think, it was a masterstroke this season, and I think no one could have predicted how poor Martial would have been this season. So I don't think it's necessarily a mistake. Obviously, in hindsight, we could have maybe brought in a striker this season, but Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think it's really the club's fault. You know, we're seeing a little bit of a replacement now in Cavani, but I think it's more on Martial than the club. He was entrusted with it, and he's not delivered this season.
I don't exactly lie on that. Does anyone else want to make another point on Lukaku? Or
yeah, I'll say another way to ask that question. Another way to ask that question is: should United have held their nose and got Haaland?
Say that one more time, Juki. You broke up a little bit.
I said another way to ask that question is: should United's board have held their nose and got Haaland? Right?
Oh, yeah. That's because a debate.
I think that was Ollie's master plan. That's why he was comfortable letting Lukaku go. I don't think he was pinning everything on Martial, even though Martial was emerging. I think that was the plan. I think Haaland was the plan.
I think it was actually, I think Sancho was the number one plan. I think Haaland was part of it, though. I still think there is a chance we could get him. I really do. But Martial has to go for that to happen, and that also looks like that could happen.
I reckon if that
release... Sorry, go on.
I reckon if that release clause wasn't mentioned, Man United potentially would have signed Haaland in January last year. I reckon if they didn't say, "Oh, we want a release clause within 2 years' time," I reckon we would have got him there and then. But we've also got to factor that his dad is his agent. He played for Leeds. He played for Man City. And also, Viola is an advisor. And do we really want to go into business with that piece of shit again? I highly doubt it.
I would say when it's a bona fide, possibly the best player in the world very shortly, I'm like, yeah.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, but he's ripping up the Champions League. He's going to be worth 100 and he's probably already worth 180 million. I don't even know. But I think I put up with him. Who cares? Just get him. Whatever I have to do. I don't care. I really don't care. If you listen back, we had Phil Brown on an episode a couple of months ago, and he was like, when we didn't get Reguilon, and he was like, because the 30 million deal is like, that makes no difference to me as a football fan. If Reguilon comes and through him we win a league title, or we go to the next level and then we are in a better place, then absolutely. But who gives a fuck? If so what? There's a bit of egg in our face that we lose him for a bit or cheaper than we should do. If he brings us the league title or the Champions League or anything like that, then for God's sake, it's worth it. And if he doesn't achieve greatness, then we probably won't get rid of him. Do you know what I mean? So for me, just go for it, please. But yeah, no, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much. Please follow all these wonderful gentlemen on their social medias. Please, what day is it? It is Sunday. We'll be back. Waller Red, so Tuesday. So find us there. And Cardiff will be having the football. The woman's who is making a lot of noise while I'm trying to do my outro. Everyone's being muted. You're all bold. Okay, everyone's. There we go. So make sure that a Women's Weekly will be on tomorrow night. So make sure to join Jonathan for that. Please make sure to check out Waller Reds. We'll be back on Tuesday. We hope to see you all there again. Wednesday Cardiff will be hosting the post-show reaction for the Palace game. Then after that, it'll be whatever happens leading up to Waller Reds again on Sunday. So please do what you can. Follow this channel. Follow everyone here that took part tonight. Subscribe to the channel and like this video and share it around to get people watching. And also Jarvis with the final good point. Don't forget Alf-Inge Hanland played with Solskjaer in the national team. They're both Norwegian. If it was a correct move for Haaland regarding his development. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll still get him. But thanks so much. You've been wonderful as always. And we'll see you all very soon. 3 points are coming, guys. Thanks very much.